All right, let's just jump right in. We're kind of taught that being a social butterfly is the goal, right? Your calendar's packed, you've got tons of friends. But what if that's not the whole story? What if having just a couple of really close friends isn't a weakness, but actually a sign of something, well, pretty amazing going on in your brain?
So, have you ever felt that little pang of guilt for just wanting to stay home? You say no to a night out, and suddenly your brain's like, ugh, am I being weird? Am I antisocial? It's this crazy pressure to always be on, always connected. But listen, that feeling, it's way more normal than you think. And honestly, it might mean something really important.
And this is where it gets interesting, because here's an idea that just flips that whole narrative on its head. What if having very few friends isn't a failure at all? What if it just means your brain has a higher standard for connection? It's not that you can't connect with people, it's that you connect on a whole different level. Okay, so what is actually going on inside our heads that makes some of us this way?
Well, it pretty much boils down to two key traits. Let's get into them.
First, there's something called low social dependency. Now, that sounds a little cold, but it doesn't mean you don't need people. We all need people. What it really means is that you don't need a huge crowd to feel validated. Your self-worth comes from the inside, you know? You get your fulfillment from those super deep, authentic conversations with just a few people you really, truly trust. And then there's the second piece of the puzzle, high social sensitivity. The best way to think about this is like your brain is a super high fidelity microphone. So while most people are just hearing the main conversation, you're picking up everything. The tiny shift in someone's tone of voice, that little flicker of doubt in their eyes, the whole vibe of the room. You're just processing all of that social information way, way more deeply. And when you put those two things together, it makes perfect sense, right? Your low social dependency makes you crave that depth. And your high social sensitivity means you're actually equipped to find it because you notice so much. But there's a flip side. That super sensitive microphone, it gets overwhelmed fast, especially in really loud or kind of shallow social situations. It's just too much data coming in. And this all leads to something I'm sure you felt. Ever been at a party, having a decent time, and then, boom, your energy just hits a wall? It's like a battery suddenly went from 80% to 5%. If that sounds familiar, then you're gonna get this next part. Here's the thing. Processing all that extra emotional data is work. It's exhausting. Your brain is literally doing more work every single minute in a social situation than someone else's might. And that is not a weakness, it's just biology. And all that hard work means you need more time to recover. And what does recovery look like? Usually, it's just quiet, blissful alone time. So, do any of these signs of social burnout ring a bell? Feeling totally drained, maybe a little irritable or anxious, craving quiet, getting that brain fog? This isn't just being tired, okay? It's a real thing. It's that feeling you get after a long day of meetings, or even after a fun party. It's basically your brain screaming, please turn the microphone off. So, where does this leave us? Well, this is the good part. This is where we get to completely redefine what a good social life even looks like. Let's just call it what it is. The number of friends you have, it's a vanity metric. It's like likes on social media. It tells you absolutely zero about the real support and love in your life. That whole idea is totally outdated. The real measure of success is quality. I mean, do you have that one person you can call at 3 in the morning, no questions asked, someone who just gets you so you don't have to explain yourself all the time? That is social wealth. That's the deep connection your highly tuned brain is searching for. So, here's the bottom line. Choosing to have just a few really deep friendships, that is not a sign that you're failing socially. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's a sign of maturity. It shows you know who you are, you know how to protect your energy, and you've set a high bar for the people you let into your inner circle. Honestly, it's a huge sign of emotional intelligence. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. Instead of feeling guilty for needing alone time or for having a smaller circle of friends, what if you started seeing it as your superpower? How are you going to honor that incredible standard for connection your brain has? And how are you going to give yourself the space you need to really, truly thrive?